On June 4th, 2021, 3 Locust Grove police officers in Henry County approached YouTuber Hellcat Infamous, suspecting him of loitering and potential involvement in drug-related activities at a gas station. Is the YouTuber related to any drug-related activity? Let's watch the video further and see what happens.
Shows up with a 54 male, quick trip, white Dodge Charger.
Deputy Nicole Colleen Pitts led her colleagues to approach and interrogate the YouTuber about his activities. The other 2 officials made their way to the spot after being called there by the lady officer.
Are you hanging out? Are you meeting somebody? Are you waiting on somebody? Are you lost?
I live on.
So, the reason I'm asking, we've been here how long? Probably 20 minutes?
30 minutes.
30 minutes?
Yeah,
you hadn't got any gas. You hadn't gone in and got any food.
No.
You parked at a gas pump. And I know the tank's not on the side. It's on the other side, right?
No, I don't even take this thing gas.
So, what are you doing?
The second officer entered the frame and asked the YouTuber whether he was hanging out with friends or doing something else. Subtly inquiring as to why he was there, the man responded that he resides there in response to the question, where the officer stated that they had a good reason to suspect criminal activity in the area due to its long-standing history of such activity.
Just chilling. I don't want to go home. I can't sit in the parking lot. Because I live out here.
Where you living? You have some ID? Who's your ID? Or is it at the bar?
Some people, what's the problem?
Acting all confused, the cop asked the guy again, what exactly is he doing at the gas station? Clueless Hellcat asked whether he's doing something wrong while staying up there, as he was just chilling and grabbing something to eat, which is not wrong.
You can make it super difficult, but you do know.
I'm just wondering why y'all. But I've literally been on the phone this whole.
I know.
Go and get your ID.
The YouTuber's identification was requested by the police, and the man complains and asked why she is doing so. The officer then advised the young man not to make matters any more difficult than they already were for themselves. The important thing to note here is, according to the 4th Amendment of the Constitution of the United States, a police officer is allowed to stop a suspect on the street and frisk him or her without probable cause to arrest if the officer has a reasonable suspicion that the person has committed, is committing, or is about to commit a crime and has a reasonable belief that the person may be armed. Well, in this case, the authorities assert that the YouTuber in question was loitering around the gas station and that the surrounding area was notorious for narcotics trafficking and other forms of criminal activity.
Get your ID, and then while you give us your ID, she can speak with you. But you need to identify yourself, so go and get your ID.
So right now, what it falls under is loitering. Loitering, yes.
Yes.
Because, like, if you were, like, getting gas, waiting on somebody, like, if you were doing anything other than just kind of, like, hanging out, it wouldn't be an issue.
Well, I've been on the phone.
We know.
This area is known for narcotic activity. It's known for criminal activity.
The other officer barged in and asked for the man's ID and said that he is needed to be identified, where the lady officer comes and talks about why he's waiting there so long, as the area is quite popular for narcotics activity, and that's why they're asking for the man's identification. The man claimed he lives out here, where the cop says he believed him but still asked for the ID.
Because, you know, everybody...
I've never been like
listen,
I know a lot of detectives.
If you notice the folks come, they get their gas and they go.
Yeah, but
So, the state's definition of loitering is doing something not like the hanging out at the gas pump, not like a thing.
The man gave his ID card for identification. After verifying the YouTuber's ID and discovering no prior criminal records, the officers continued their questioning before ultimately departing without filing any charges. This sequence of events raises questions about the legitimacy of their initial suspicion and the necessity of their prolonged interrogation. The absence of criminal records suggests a lack of reasonable grounds for their continued investigation.
That would add to it, but you didn't, so it makes it a little lot better. You get what I'm saying?
But I literally come here all the time. I live here. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's
but you
fine.
can't just if you're not doing any business, if you're not getting gas, you're not
Well,
going
I
to
was
get food.
actually finna go in there. I just had a phone conversation.
Well, that's cool. But now that we've had this communication, it's what they call dispelling the alarm. Now that we're able to figure out, okay, this guy doesn't have any issues or anything like that.
Now, the lady cop is trying to make the man understand that she came to question due to suspicion, but the man didn't run away after seeing the cop, and that's a green flag that he didn't do anything, to which the man got furious and asked, why would he even run when he's done nothing wrong? To which she replied that it looked better. She was trying to explain why she came in the first place, but her explanation was kind of dumb and baseless. Where the other cop comes in and tried to save the conversation but failed miserably, as the YouTuber claims that he lives nearby and there's nothing wrong with calling on a gas station and talking for a half hour. To which the cop replied that now that we are dispelling the alarm as they had the conversation with the YouTuber and nothing is wrong here.
Then we could be by our merry way. But we never met you a day in our life. I've never met you.
I've never got
She's
that.
never met you. He's never met you. So we're just doing our jobs. What we're getting paid to do.
The cops have stated they're merely performing the duties for which they are paid, and the lady cop was talking on her walkie-talkie.
You got to, and then head on home, alright?
Yeah, but
Second
that's
thing,
kind of
your-
crazy.
Look, it's
Like I've never.
Go look up loitering in Georgia
No,
code section.
my father's a retired sheriff.
Okay.
I
Well,
know, but I've never.
like I said, this area is known for drug transactions. We're gonna make sure none of that's occurring here tonight. So
The lady cop told the YouTuber to get home, where the YouTuber replied and called her crazy, where the male cop jumps into the conversation and told to look up loitering in Georgia, where it turned out that the YouTuber's father is a retired sheriff, to which the male cop said that the area is known for drug transactions and they're just making sure none of that's occurring there.
Well, no, I race at Silver Dollar. I do track nets. I don't do no drug activity.
and like you said earlier, the reason we got out with you and asked you and didn't just like immediately throw you in handcuffs is called dispelling the alarm. That's all that happened. So, but do these change? Like, can you make them just one regular color?
I can turn them off with a switch.
Okay, so the blue lights, you can't have blue lights.
The female officer stated there's a party going on in the area and they're concerned that there will be drugs involved. Because of this, they approached the YouTuber and asked him about it. However, the situation is completely different than what the officer stated, as there are many people in the gas station, but the police only had suspicions about the YouTuber, possibly because of his race. And they requested the YouTuber to change the color of his car's light, questioning why the blue color light is on rather than the standard one.
and you definitely should. Then you should definitely understand our job. Then you should understand. If you say all these things, and if you're in the profession, you would understand why we're doing our job.
That's why I had no problem.
Right. And we definitely appreciate the cooperation. No, it's not random. We sat there for a while.
The YouTuber tried to explain his point of view, stating that his father's a retired sheriff and he won't do things like that, to which the cop tried to explain himself, stating that the YouTuber should understand where the police are coming from. And then the cop stated they appreciate the cooperation. The policeman tried to explain they saw a guy coming towards the YouTuber and thought it could be drug-related, that's why they intervened, but the YouTuber replied the car he's driving. The guy complimented the car and nothing else.
Affairs going on. Now we're gonna be about our way. If we thought something nefarious was going on, then we'd be going a whole different direction. You understand? But we have to dispel alarm, make sure nothing nefarious is going on. You understand that?
The officers state that they'll be on their way after conversing with the YouTuber. They explain that if they had suspected any suspicious or illegal activities, their approach would have been different. However, their intention was to dispel any concerns and ensure that no nefarious actions were taking place. They encouraged the YouTuber to familiarize themselves with the relevant code section, specifically mentioning loitering, spelled it out, and recommended looking it up for further information.
Look it up.
Deputy Nicole Pitts, who was one of the cops that was involved in the event, was made to face the consequences of her actions by having her employment with the Locust Grove Police Department terminated. The particular factors that led to her being fired are being kept a secret for time being. During the course of a phone call, Chief of Police Derek Austin verified the accuracy of this information.
We kick things off in Texas, where members of the Lufkin PD are handcuffing 33-year-old Tasha Faye Sponsler. After being put in the police cruiser, the handcuffed Sponsler manages to undo her seatbelt. And then, despite officers being near the vehicle, she pulls off a Vegas-level magic trick by, ta-da, wiggling her one hand out of her handcuffs. Sponsler remains calm, looks around, and makes sure the officers are adequately distracted before following up her previous trick with an even crazier encore.
In the midst of Texas, where everyone's attention is focused on Tasha Faye Sponsler and the daring journey that she was on, the officers of the Lufkin Police Department have just finished properly handcuffing Sponsler and are about to load her into their cruiser when an unexpected event takes place. Sponsler first removes her seatbelt, which displays a remarkable level of dexterity, and then she removes her hand from the handcuffs. She makes sure to check around carefully to make sure the police are sufficiently distracted, yet despite this, she has nerves of steel. Then Sponsler plans an encore that is utterly mind-boggling to everyone and would be well at home in Las Vegas. This promises to be an exhilarating journey into a world of bold pranks and unexpected turns, and Tasha Faye Sponsler is set to star as the lead character in this episode.
As the stolen cruiser shoots back onto the main road, it narrowly misses a row of spike strips. But eventually, the chase comes to a dramatic end. After rejecting a plea deal that would have given her 16 years in prison, Sponsler got the jury trial she wanted. Unfortunately for her, after being found guilty, she was sentenced to a staggering 45 years in prison.
As the stolen cruiser drove back to the main road and narrowly skirted a series of spike strips, the officers who were after it launched into a frenzy of pursuit. The amount of stress that was being endured became increasingly severe with each passing second. The desperate circumstances that the fugitive was in caused her to make a choice that would have severe repercussions. Sponsler was offered a plea bargain that would have reduced the maximum term she faced to 16 years, but she chose to take her chances in a jury trial instead. Her run of good luck had finally come to an end. The judge came to the conclusion that she was responsible for the crime and then stunned everyone in the courtroom by imposing a sentence of 45 years in jail on her. After the spectacular chase was over, Sponsler was left with the sobering awareness that she still had a long and challenging road ahead.
It's 1:15 p.m. at the Ready Mart in Spruce Grove, Edmonton. And this man, 28-year-old Richard Parasow, has just been caught trying to buy a can of soda with a stolen credit card. Police have been called in to arrest the man, but he's not going quietly. After throwing his girlfriend, Brittany Burke, more on her in a minute, onto the officer and tangling with the store's owner, creating an impromptu game of Twister, he breaks free. He takes off towards the back of the store with no shirt and no plan. As the officer takes aim with a taser, Parasow grabs a weapon of his own, a bag of salty snacks. Realizing he's outgunned, he drops to the ground. The officer shows restraint as Brittany Burke approaches near the Pringles. After telling her to stay back, the officer calls for backup, and that's when Parasow makes at least his fourth terrible decision of the day and is pumped full of 50,000 volts. Meanwhile, with the entrance blocked by the owner, Brittany, the real star of this video, makes her move to the back of the store. Instead of trying the back door, she takes another, more daring route. After blowing absolutely any chance of anonymity right here, she crawls past the dusty Christmas decorations and heads for the ductwork and potential freedom. A seemingly good plan until it isn't. After using aisle 5 to break her fall, Burke miraculously walks away and finally decides to surrender. Backup arrives, and both Parasau and Burke are arrested. As the store's owners pick up the pieces of their ceiling, Parasau and Burke picked up 11 charges, including using a stolen credit card, resisting arrest, and assaulting a police officer.
Disarray broke out in the Spruce Grove, Edmonton location of Ready Mart around 1:15. The 28-year-old Richard Parasau was apprehended while attempting to use a fraudulent credit card to buy a Coke. When the police arrived to arrest him, he caused a commotion by throwing his girlfriend, Brittany Burke, who would turn out to be quite the character in her own right, at one of them. The shopkeeper got caught up in the confusion, and before long they had an impromptu game of Twister on their hands. Parasau stripped off his shirt and made a hasty retreat to the store's rear. Parasau dodged the officer's taser by brandishing a bag of salty snacks. Being aware of his inferiority, he wisely lowered himself to the earth. Brittany Burke, meantime, made her move, silently slinking past dusty Christmas ornaments and into the ducts. In aisle 5, her audacious plot to flee backfired as she smashed through a ceiling tile. When reinforcements arrived, Parasau and Burke were arrested and the store's owners were left to pick up the pieces. Parasau was hit with a whopping 11 offenses, including theft, assault, and resisting arrest.
Taking a more straightforward approach is the alleged suspect caught on camera in this next video released by the NYPD. As she approaches the cashier at this Burger King in the Grand Concourse section of the Bronx, there seems to be nothing out of the ordinary about this customer until she dives across the counter and takes a stab at the open cash register, swiping $250. Going above and beyond the call of duty, additional staff step in. But they don't have the suspect for long. She slides across the counter and makes her way towards the door with no sense of urgency, and with good reason, as she's yet to be caught. But for the staff of this Burger King, they get a moral victory for making sure the suspect walked out both hungry and empty-handed.
When the officer from the New York Police Department approached the cashier at the Burger King located in the Grand Concourse neighborhood of the Bronx, it seemed as though the woman was merely another customer. In a sudden and unanticipated change of events, however, she leapt over the counter and made a vain attempt to get her hands on the open cash register. She accomplished an extraordinary feat for a would-be thief by stealing $250 in a single fast action, going above and beyond the call of duty for a thief. The situation was swiftly brought under control by additional members of the crew, but their efforts to capture the culprit were unsuccessful. She slid back over the counter with astonishing dexterity and then casually sauntered towards the exit, making no indication that she was in any rush. It was probably a little success for the personnel at Burger King when they made sure the suspect left the restaurant hungry and without any of his belongings.
Finally, we're in Lamar, Arkansas, where police are in pursuit of a truck and trailer reportedly stolen by the owner just 10 minutes earlier. An even bigger problem, the vehicle's owner says there's several loaded guns inside the truck. With little progress being made 10 miles into the chase, a police unit is stationed near an on-ramp, about to deploy a spike strip, hopefully disabling the vehicle.
Spike's deployed, they got him. Lives in an icebox out the back.
The spike strips are successful, sending a mini freezer flying, but the truck keeps going.
There's debris on the highway, debris on. 10-4, copy spikes. Looks like we got a front tire, front driver's side tire, 68 miles an hour, westbound.
Then, 2 miles further down the highway,
He's on the rim. He's about to come to a stop here soon. Just before the Franklin. We're pulling over in the shoulder just before Franklin County.
before the officer can get his car in park, the truck door swings open. It's the moment of truth for this pursuing officer. As the driver exits, they could be concealing a weapon, or not concealing anything at all.
Get on the ground! Get on the ground!
The driver who just led police on a dangerous high-speed chase is, in fact, a woman wearing nothing but a pair of sunglasses and who knows what on her head.
Get on the ground! Get on the ground! Get on the ground!
Police tackle the woman and place her under arrest. The suspect, later identified as 48-year-old Deidre Lewis, was charged with aggravated assault, theft, reckless driving, and fleeing.
They had followed the track of the stolen truck and the trailer all the way to Lamar, Arkansas. 10 minutes after reporting the theft, the owner revealed a more pressing concern. He said that the stolen vehicle contained loaded firearms. Tensions were high when a police team waited at an on-ramp and got ready to use a spike strip after a 10-mile chase. Success! A small freezer was launched into the air by the strip, but the truck kept on. However, at 68 miles in, the front driver's side tire gave out, and by the time they got another 2 miles down the road, the truck was on its last legs. The cop had his opportunity to act. The truck pulled over to the side of the road in Franklin County, and as the pursuing police officer approached, the door suddenly opened. When the driver finally emerged, everyone knew for sure if she was hiding a weapon or not. The fast command came, "Get on the ground, get down here." It was then revealed that the woman behind the wheel during the high-stakes police pursuit had been wearing only sunglasses and a peculiar headpiece. Officers swarmed in and arrested the culprit, a 48-year-old woman named Deidre Lewis, who was charged with aggravated assault, theft, reckless driving, and eluding police.